In Chicago and other cities around the world, Black families are fighting for survival. We're impacted by anti-Black violence at all stages of life.
It's so many things that us as Black families are going through. We're going through fighting for good schools, education, having good, safe communities. I mean, we even fight just to stay in our community.
Well, I think Black families are going through a lot. There's a lot of separation. Parents are working. Families are kind of spread out a little bit more because of just the way things are set up structurally in the city. There's a lot of fear. Parents letting their children go hang out, letting them be out with their peers. Some of the young folks just in this space were sharing how difficult it was to, just make friends, and just how difficult it's been to kind of just get out and get like a momentum going with community building.
I don't think it's a lot of spaces where Black families can come together and just have a space to be able to build relationships and get to know each other.
It's a struggle to just get the family together to go out. We can't even afford to go out to a movie. Everything costs. And the doors is always shut in our face. We have to open them up.
I was very hesitant about moving to Chicago. The realities of it all, you don't want your kid to get sucked into, gangs or hanging around the wrong people and doing all those type of things. So I worry about that, and then just making sure that I can get him, to graduation and on out of here.
These enclosures to Black life are reproduced in K-12 schools in overt and covert ways. Teachers, curricula, and other mechanisms of K-12 schools often fail to recognize and build teaching and learning conditions that center the wisdom, beauty, and brilliance of Black families.
I've been a part of all kinds of parent movement work, and there's like this gap of the parent versus the teacher sometimes. And it's kind of is like the glue.
Unfortunately, it's a game. It's a system, as I think we mentioned before in our group talks about numbers. So it's sad for me to say that, but I do believe in being hands-on when you're educating your child so they can have the best possible experience.
They ain't teaching us nothing related to solving our own problems. They ain't teaching us how to stop the police from murdering us and brutalizing us.
And it's important for us to teach our own children about our history, about who they are. How can you teach my child? And you don't know nothing about me.
Even in the midst of anti-Black violence, Black families have always found ways to survive and thrive.
We experience a lot of trials and tribulations that other families do not experience. And I think that being a Black family is more than just soul food. It's more than just, the color of your skin. It goes deep into your roots. My great-grandmother, she's deceased now, so she went from picking cotton to the school systems now being Black and white, and then also, seeing me graduate. She saw my mom get married, so she has definitely passed down a lot of history, a lot of great stories to us, and I think that's what makes a Black family for sure.
We sit and talk about things and experiences and what's going on in school, and then just building that togetherness.
How my mom cares for me, just spending time.
And that's what is needed, actually, within our schools and in our communities.
In the late 1960s and early 1970s, a coalition of Chicago high school students, community activists, scholars, teachers, and professors through the Black Congress launched what came to be known as the Communiversity. According to their early documents, Communiversities aim to help Black folks comprehend local, national, and international struggles that affected Black life. They aim to help Black people understand colonialism and other structures of oppression. They aim to aid Black professionals who interface with the white colonial world and also engage in the Black resistance movement, to assist Black students in their development for the general struggle, aid Black parents and children who are victimized by educational systems of oppression, and help Black communities organize to meet their objectives. The Communiversity model, launched in Chicago, gained traction through communities across the U.S. as a tool to bring collectives of people together to both critically read and rewrite their worlds. The Communiversity model has much potential in creating contemporary, reciprocal models of inquiry and action rooted in equitable, non-extractive structures and ways of working. While the Communiversity birthed in Chicago is one of many examples that situate education in relationship to liberation, we borrow the model in this iteration for its explicit focus on the liberation of Black people. In the summer of 2023, members of People's Education Movement Chicago, Women and Mothers of Multiple Colors, and Good Lookin Out invited Black families across Chicago to participate in a 6-week program titled Building a Communiversity. Every Wednesday, 10 families came together to learn from one another, to imagine with each other, and to heal. This embodies what Bell Hooks describes as homecoming.
I'm hoping that this communiversity that we are building together creates an opportunity for families to exist in space together and do positive things together. We're creating art together, and I'm watching as families are just like, oh, I love doing this. This is fun, and I enjoy being in space with you. It's just something powerful in that, families being able to come together and just have a good time, and then that also creates capacity for people to want to do more.
We were trying to really focus on education. I think that was a critical part. And in that, Ananka brought forward the leather craft, and she brought forward this concept of the artisan. I'm glad that we let it flow.
I was involved heavily with the community. I worked in education as well as in local politics. So I was very well versed in community activism and engagement. It was a benefit for me too, also to have increased that engagement piece with my child.
For welcoming me with open arms. I never really spoke out like this. So this is my first time really talking to people that aren't my age, that are just random people. A communiversity is a group of people who come out not knowing each other and leave with a family.
Family is more than just blood related. It can be friendship related. It can be a variety of things. So that's what I learned while being here.
What if K-12 schools mirrored the praxis of Black families, centering and embody what has always been present, but often is situated outside of what is deemed valuable in school spaces?
Teachers and students can learn a lot from communiversities when you are practicing restorative justice, which is building a culture of relationships. You know to create space for somebody or to listen to somebody. And as time goes on, I feel more comfortable to talk about other things, which starts to foster the relationship. But at the same time, we're learning about social movements, and we start talking about community, we can start to talk about the community that we envision and that we want to create, which goes into the art making piece, which now, since we know who we are and who we are in community, we have time to build relationships to build something together.
Here we had elders in their 70s and children as young as 8, and that was just profound and powerful.
In order for teachers and administrators who work at schools, in order for them to understand communities, they have to be willing to sit down and really actually be in a circle and just come to know one another. And I think Communiversity is the beginning of healing.